Hey, this is Greg. So this is my old Vudoo 360. This is what I competed with for I think almost 4 years. This rifle has about 30,000 rounds through it and probably 80,000 cycles of dry fire. So this rifle's seen a lot of love. Let's discuss the firing pin adjustment, and then let's also discuss handoff. We want to give you guys some demonstrations here to set the record straight, and let's give you guys some good education and good info on what to run with here. So here is a Vudoo firing pin and a cocking piece assembly. This is an older one. This is a single screw. So as in my post, the single screw denotes it is a 48 TPI thread pitch on the cocking piece and the firing pin. The two screw is a 64 TPI firing pin and cocking piece. So when this system or these two parts are in the bolt, they travel together always, they're locked together. They can be located in the bolt based off of one of three surfaces here. This piece right here, the shoulder on the firing pin, can be all the way up against the inside of the bolt nose, and this only happens in the fully decocked and fully closed, bolt closed position. Upon the lifting of the bolt handle, and we'll demonstrate this in a second, this portion right here, this is the tab or the tongue, if you will. This rides up inside of the bolt body, and this entire assembly will start to move to the rear as soon as the bolt handle starts to be lifted. Therefore, this surface will be out of play and will come out of contact with the inside of the bolt nose. And the entire time the bolt is moving backwards, and for most of the forward stroke, the bolt, or sort of the firing pin location, is based off of this surface here. The firing pin and the cocking piece is based off of this surface. On the closure of the bolt, and it'll kind of depend whether it's forward stroke, downstroke, or in the transition, somewhere the trigger sear surface is, or the trigger sear is going to grab this sear engagement surface right here on the cocking piece as you close the bolt. And then from that point forward, this entire assembly will be located based off of this surface right here. So therefore, with the exception of when the bolt is all the way closed, the amount of turns in or out that the firing pin is in this cocking piece is irrelevant to the handoff or the feel of the closure. The only thing it can do is compress the spring. So as you see, as we screw in and out, basically what we're doing is increasing the distance as we screw out. We're increasing the distance from this shoulder to this surface right here, or this surface right here. These two surfaces, of course, act together. Let's show you this on a bolt. So here is my bolt. Again, this is a very old rifle. This is a single screw cocking piece. This is a 360, Vudoo 360. So this is the cocked position. And as you can see, the shoulder of the firing pin is off of the inside of the bolt nose, and the firing pin and the cocking piece, so as we see here, this assembly is located based off the interaction of the bolt body and the cocking piece right here. It is not located based off of the firing pin. If I were to decock the system, at this point now it is resting up against the inside of the bolt nose. And the cocking piece, the tab, is hanging down inside this 45-degree cut. So again, as we start to lift the bolt, so this would be the condition with the bolt fully closed and the rifle in the decocked position. So what happens is as soon as we start to lift the bolt handle, you can watch right here, you can watch that the firing pin comes out of contact with the bolt nose, and therefore the location of firing pin cocking piece is directed off of this interaction back here. So upon closure of the bolt comes forward, your trigger sear will engage somewhere along the lines with this particular surface right here, and then it'll go ahead and lower the bolt handle, and this portion or this assembly will stay to the rear until released by the trigger, at which point it would return to this position. So let's show you in rifle right here. So this is properly adjusted. So what I want to show you is how the amount of turns in or out the firing pin is. how that affects the way the system works. So here we are. Again, this is decocked. I need to recock this. So this is 2.5 turns out from bottomed out. This is what I would call properly tuned or properly adjusted. So as we go through, you can see back here, this is where my firing pin is. And we'll see if we can zoom in here a little bit. So you can see this is my firing pin sticking out. That's our handoff point. Okay. So somewhere in this downward stroke is where the trigger is grabbing hold of this surface right here. So let me grab my pointer here. Trigger is grabbing hold of this surface right here. Again, 2.5 turns out. Now, let's go ahead and take our bolt here. And what I'm going to do is loosen this. And for demonstration purposes, I'm going to screw all the way in until it bottoms out. We've actually decocked, so we'll recock here. And we'll back off to clock correctly just till it clocks. Now, since we've screwed the firing pin into the cocking piece, it is protruding further back here. But as I close the bolt, you can see there is no change in the feel of this handoff. This gun still does have a little bit of hitch right there. So again, no change. Now, let's go ahead and back off the firing pin several turns to demonstrate the opposite effect. So there is, this would be 1.5. This would be 2.5 back in the properly adjusted condition. Let's go ahead and do a couple more. We tighten my set screw. Make sure it's lined up. Now, as you can see, the firing pin is much further inward. So again, if we were to demonstrate here, we turn this in quite a bit, so the firing pin is protruding much less. But as far as the handoff goes, we'll put this in, push the bolt forward. We have that same feeling exact here in the bolt closure. There is absolutely zero change. So this feeling right here is what we are referring to as handoff. This feeling right here is what both Vudoo Gunworks and Masterpiece Arms are adjusting the feel of by adjusting the cocking piece, which is this piece right here. We adjust the dimensions on the cocking piece. It should be noted that if you change your trigger, because triggers obviously have some tolerances in them, the location of the sear surface in here will change just slightly. A few thousandths fore and aft of the trigger sear will change the timing of when the cocking piece is handed off to this trigger sear. But to reiterate, the amount of turns that the firing pin is screwed into the cocking piece has absolutely zero effect on the handoff. So we'll demonstrate here as well underneath, so you can see as this is screwed out, you can see that my gap here has decreased. So what it will affect is it will lessen the travel of the firing pin. So the firing pin has less travel to get to the fully decocked position or fired position, and therefore it actually lessens the preload of the spring. If you guys have any questions, give us a call. I will say I do not work for Vudoo Gunworks anymore. I work for Masterpiece Arms, so I really cannot advise you on their products beyond this. This is just to clean up some misleading information or some incorrect information, whether it's intentional or not. Probably is unintentional, but just to clean up some incorrect information online. Thanks, guys.